going on, lads? Welcome everybody back to another video. Now, I actually haven't been doing too much Team of the Week reviews as of recently because in my opinion, Team of the Week right now is so behind where it has to be with EA. They should be realizing only the high tier Team of the Week cards have a value. Like, for example, my Inform Neymar. You got like an Inform Messi. Don't even think Ronaldo's had an Inform this year. Inform Mbappe. There's not much demand for the lower tier Informs, and I feel like EA have to realize that and give them even bigger boosts. Like, why not make it a double, even a triple boost than it usually is? Like, imagine an 87 rated Inform Rudiger, or something else that I think is quite cool to revamp it, is depending on how well they performed. Obviously, you have to perform well to get into the Team of the Week, but say if you're a striker and you score a hat-trick, give them like a +9, +10 shooting, and like a +2 in every other stat. If they're a winger and they get like 3 assists, give them like, you know, 99 crossing, something cool like that to make the cards a bit more valuable. Now, I was looking at the new Team of the Week, and I'm like, is there any cards worth reviewing? I have a look at Rudiger, and I'm like, 30,000 coins. I mean, that seems really reasonable because you look at his rule breakers, insane. I've got his honourable mentions, obviously first owner, and honestly, his honourable mentions is ridiculous. I could make a debate, this card is better for me than my Team of the Year Marquinhos, but the thing is, obviously, his honourable mentions is much better than this card, obviously. I mean, I don't really have to say that, but I want to see if it's like it's a massive difference, and they're still the same player, still got the same body type, still going to feel similar, and what I really like about Rudiger is his actual body type. I feel like that's what makes him so good. Chuck a shadow on him, which is what I've gone for. He goes to a 92 rated centre back with a shadow. A 92 rated centre back, Chelsea links, German links, Premier League centre back, 32k, 92 rated. Compare him to his rule breakers, which is currently, let's remove the chem style real quick. Compare him to his rule breakers, which is currently 200,000 coins. His rule breakers he's got a lot more pace, which adds a lot of value, but he's got the same defending and he's got 5 more physical. So he's got a lot of less pace, which is important, obviously. But I mean, dude, this card looks ridiculously cheap. I was expecting him to be around 70, 60,000 coins. But what I really like about him, it says high and average body type, but the type of high and average body type this card actually has, he's a lot more slim than most players with a high and average body type. And that's what I really like about him. He's tall, like slim, but he's also really strong, which means he can move quite good on the ball. And a right trigger, left trigger jockeying with him, although he's only got 59 agility, the right trigger, left trigger jockeying with him, full with the honourable mentions anyway, is sensational. Now with this card, sure, his 67 acceleration is not ideal. You need to go for a shadow, like no debate, it has to be a shadow chem style. Go to 77 acceleration and he goes to 97 sprint speed. Obviously 88 pace in game, also gets a massive defensive boost, and his physical is phenomenal with 90 strength and 94 aggression. That 71 stamina will not be an issue as a centre back at all. 6'3", medium high work rates. Let's get into the review, lads. Right then, let's do it. My opponent's got a solid team. He's got Neymar, Robertson in there, I believe Werner. I didn't pay attention. I'll assume that's the Champions League version. He's also done that Moments Gundogan, which is interesting. So it's a big test. Rudiger first impressions. Now, comparing him to his honourable mentions card, he does feel a lot slower, which is expected. Obviously, he's like, what, probably 550,000 coins cheaper than his honourable mentions, so you would expect him to feel a little bit slower than him. But still, going into tackles, I'm sure this card is going to be absolutely brilliant. The aggression, the strength, the height, the medium-high work rates as well is sensational. Bro, look at how fast Rudiger is dropping back there. My opponent, he's sitting from the counter, from a corner, and Rudiger, he was up for my corner, and he drops back instantly. That's that medium-high work rate, and it's exactly what you want. Go on, Rudiger. That is absolutely sensational. So I was caught out of position. Once again, he drops back, he wins that tackle. Amazing. And the fact he's 6'3" as well, man, is absolutely brilliant. He just towers over your opponent. Rudiger, perfect. Goes back to them. Very unlucky. Marquinhos with it. Marquinhos with a backup. I do like the Rudiger-Marquinhos combination. They both like suit each other very well. Marquinhos is a type of centre-back you can dribble with. He's a type of centre-back you can get forward and, like, you know, feels relatively good on the ball. Then Rudiger's a more taller one who you can't really dribble with. So if you do use Rudiger, I'd recommend pairing him up with a player like, say, Kunde, for example, a smaller type of player that can dribble and progress a pitch, because then you've got two centre-backs and you've got 2 different ones of different, you know, abilities and strengths, if that makes sense. Rudiger, you got to be winning that, and of course he does. 6'3", insane heading, of course he's winning that. all in all, boys, what a performance from Rudiger. I was really impressed with him. Really impressed with him. He went in for a few tackles, he got a header through, and obviously mention card for over 150 games. There's also a rule breakers review on him as well if you guys want to check that out. With this Rudiger card, I've got one thing to describe him, and that word is going to be dominant. He's a type of card that wins duels in the air. He wins battles in the air. Going to tackles, he's absolutely brilliant. He's an absolute tank. Now, obviously, this is not as good as his rule breakers. His rule breakers has that much more pace, and that sprint speed boost is incredibly massive. And I know I said a cheap beast. He's 30,000 coins. Apologies, my mic just cut out, but as I was saying, 30,000 coins for a dominant German centre-back in the Premier League who plays for Chelsea, which gets some brilliant links to Mendy and that. You could pair him up with a I've completely blanked. Reece James, headliners, that's the one. You can get some really nice Chelsea links. Chalobah, future stars as well if you complete that objective. 6-3, medium-high work rates. With the pros, Chem style definitely has to be a shadow. You need that +10 on both acceleration and sprint speed. His sprint speed is brilliant of 97 with a shadow, but the 77 acceleration with a shadow still isn't crazy. So for the pros, we are going to say his sprint speed, and we are also going to say his defending and physical. And in general, with physical, we mean at 90 strength and 94 aggression. Also his height of 6'3" and his medium-high work rates. For the cons, we are going to say that 67 acceleration. Even with a shadow going to 77 acceleration, it will catch you out on the turn a little bit. So that's why I do heavily recommend using this card, pairing him up with a smaller centre-back. Like this card and a player similar to Kunde, honourable mentions would be absolutely ideal, because Kunde, he's a small lad, he can dribble, he can progress the pitch, and then you've got Rudiger, who is obviously he's a tank. He's much stronger than Kunde. Going into tackles, he's a lot more effective than Kunde. So I feel like pair this card up with a smaller type of centre back. He's down to 29,000 coins at the minute, and for this card, 29,000 coins, you can tell a massive difference between his honourable mentions. Obviously his honourable mentions is ridiculous. You get the same type of vibe with him, dominant centre back. This card obviously is a little bit, I wouldn't say slow, but it's definitely a noticeable difference. But I do think that this card is a bang for your buck for 30,000 coins. Depends what level you're in, or what level you are playing at, whether you are an amazing player and you're playing FUT Champs, and I'd say Division 2 plus or FUT Champs, this card will probably not do the job. But if you're a more casual player between, say, Division 5, maybe Division 3, he could definitely get a job done in that centre-back role. And as well, if you are a Chelsea fan and you cannot afford his honourable mentions or his rule breakers, you've got a nice Chelsea centre-back to add to your past and present. Overall rating, going to give him an 8.7 out of 10. Hope you guys did enjoy. It's been your boy Davis, and until next time, peace out, boys.